arrangement that is made prior to the physical life between the person that's going to do the channeling and the consciousness that is going to be channeled. And when you come into this life, then your life contains whatever situations it needs to get you to remember and fulfill that agreement in whatever way you have chosen to do that. So everyone's way is different, and there can be people who have an awareness that this kind of a thing can happen, and maybe they sort of lead themselves into it awake, so to speak, and there are people maybe who have made such an agreement who haven't chosen the type of life where they know much about this kind of thing, and then all of a sudden one day they're walking down the street and bang, it just hits. For me, the biggest kickover point, what really started me off, even though I didn't realize what it was for at the time, was an incident that occurred about 12 years ago. On two different occasions within the same week, with 4 friends present with me the first time and 2 friends present with me the second time, we had very close physical broad daylight sightings of Bashar's spacecraft over Los Angeles. And what I didn't understand then and what I understand now is that physical sighting was his way of kicking me in the subconscious memory to start learning what I needed to learn to fulfill the agreement that I had made with him. As I was spurred on from having seen that and being excited about it, I started doing more and more research into this sort of thing. And eventually I started reading about mediumship. I was ultimately introduced to several mediums through the process. One of the entities, one of the consciousnesses coming through one of those mediums ultimately offered to teach mediumship for whoever was interested. I took him up on it, even at that point, not thinking so much that this was something I was going to wind up doing. But I had pretty much read all the books I could find, so I thought maybe that being in a class would be one way to get more information, see something new, learn something more about the whole idea. When I was in that class, when I was in a receptive state, and when I was under the guidance of the other entity through the other medium, however, Bashar and his people made the connection with me mentally. As soon as the connection hit, the memory of having made the agreement opened up in one flash. Who they were, who I was to them, what the ship sighting was all about, what it was for, what the agreement was that I had made. Dream encounters that I had had with them that I totally blocked out for years and years all came back in that one flash memory. And along with that flash memory came the first, I guess, message that they had was, now's the time for you to start doing this if you still want to. Do you still want to? Because it was a choice, and it always is a choice. Obviously, I said yes, and I've been doing this now with them for 3.5 years and letting it grow and take me where it's going. What I usually also add is that obviously it's the way that the experience is being interpreted, the way that the consciousness presents itself, has its own reasons for doing so, although obviously in our physical terms, at this point in time, there's no way that I can prove what it is to anyone. So the idea is basically just to take it at face value, take it for the energy you get out of it, take it for the interaction. If it works for you, use it. Above and beyond everything, it is an interaction. They are here to assist us, not so much in, let's say, exactly learning something really new, but in, but in remembering more and more of who we are and all the pulling the components together of who we've been. And they have elected, along with a lot of other consciousnesses, to function in this way, at this manner, at this time, to allow us the opportunity to decide for ourselves whether what they have to say will work for us. They're not into, making blatant presentations in the sense that they force their appearance on you, force their presence on anyone, and force anyone to believe, in their particular point of view or their reality. But they have observed that what we are all learning, as is pointed out even by what we're doing here today in this Dolphin Quest idea, is that they have pointed out that we are already on the path that they have been on for some time of assimilating our consciousness, getting it together, and now especially learning that we actually have what they have called many times to them 2 alien species on our planet, the humans and the dolphins. And that, they say that one of the wonderful ways that we would be able to get used to dealing with other extraterrestrial species would be to get used to dealing with the aliens right in our own world, right here, the other species, which are the dolphins. And so it's, for those purposes and a lot of other ones, as some of you are familiar with, that they're dealing with us. Bashar, once again, is not specifically his name. It is a term that he has picked out of one of our own Earth languages to represent him. They're primarily telepathic in their civilization. They don't have names. But it's a convenience for us, a little bit something better than Hey You. And he chose it basically out of a language that's my background, which is partly Middle Eastern. And I was told on one level that the word Bashar is actually a title and means something like leader or commander, which is something at least approximating what he is in his society. I was also told recently that the words El Bashar actually means the man or the human being. These are things I didn't even know when he chose the name. He will usually come through, and he will usually interact with you for a few minutes. He'll have something to say or have something to do with all of us. And generally the pattern is after he does that, he'll open it up to sharing. His word will be sharing, which is his way of saying questions, answers, statements, anything at all that you want to say, anything at all you want to ask, anything at all you want to share or explore. He will explore with you in whatever detail he feels is applicable to the whole group. He is, as I've said many times, quite a chatterbox, and he will go on about a lot of different things that are important. He will also take the time to examine and explore certain avenues. If the two things I would definitely suggest, A, don't be shy, and B, if there is something he says, because he's not speaking our language, his mentality is activating in me what vocabulary exists within me, and I'm being used like a translation box, so to speak. At times, there will be choices of words that come out and combinations of words that may not be typical of the way we speak. So if you don't understand the way he has said something, please don't let him go on. If you want to know what he's saying, if you want to know what he means, stop him. Just say, Bashar, wait a minute, could you explain that again? And he will, because to him, it's always the first time. He never gets tired, and he never feels as if he's repeating anything. He is always willing to explore from any different point of view, any idea that you have to share, and anything that you find important, he finds important. The only other thing I will say, and I don't know if we're going to be taking a break. It's a normal procedure that sometimes when the sessions go on, he will allow you a break. I don't know if that'll happen tonight. If it does or not, I would just simply ask you, when I'm going into the trance and when I'm coming out, either at the break or at the end, if there is a break, I would just ask you to please sit still and not say anything when he says goodbye until I'm actually back and I say hello or how did it go or something like that. It's just like coming out of a very deep sleep, and it's a little bit jarring if when he says goodbye everyone starts talking. It's similar to waking up in the morning with 50 people yammering at you in your bedroom. So I would just ask you, let me come out of it, and then you can run around and scream.
Daryl,
Yeah.
when you ask a question specifically of yourself, something you want to know about yourself, can he read people individually?
He can from time to time. It seems to depend on several things. What the energy is you're putting out, what the reason for the question is, because he will never answer something in a way that will rob you of the experience of finding something out that you need to find out. Sometimes I'm surprised. I just never know. People sometimes ask questions I think they would never get a direct answer on, and sometimes it just goes back. And that's it. And other times they are really looking for just a direct answer, and he senses that they're actually trying to avoid something. So he'll work with you in steering you back to finding out why it is you're asking what you're asking, and then get to the heart of it. Every question is different. Every person is different. The only thing I can say is ask anything you want to ask in any way you want to ask it and see what happens. That's the only thing I can say. Okay, he has said they come from a civilization that they call Esasani. In our language, that translates out to place of living light. The actual word for their race is Sasani. Sasani is place of living light. Sasani is living light in their language, their remnant language, which they no longer use. He has said they're on a world that is in a different vibratory plane from ours, but if we were able to visit it, it wouldn't be too unlike Earth. And as a matter of fact, from the pictures I've been able to see when I'm in trance, it's probably overall not too unlike the, let's say, the density of population that you see on Hawaii. They don't have, most of the planet is park-like, so they don't have any built-up structures. They said they're about 500 light years in the direction of the Orion constellation, but you cannot see the stars since they're not in exactly our plane. Like I said, I have seen their ships physically. Some other people from time to time have seen their ships physically. They rarely make physical appearances around the Earth. It seems that other civilizations are more prone to do so at this time, and they're functioning, Bashar and his people are functioning at this point more as a backup for a lot of other people, for a lot of other civilizations that are interacting with us, and a lot of other things that that people are doing. And they said that maybe within the next decade or so they'll have the opportunity to be more and more physical with us, interactive wise. The only other thing I will say before I start is that when I go into the trance, I just say this not because people have commented on it. My body at first may have a slight reaction to the energy. It's not painful, so don't worry about the way it looks sometimes. It is just my body starting to acclimate and go along with the flow. It's very much like an automatic muscular reaction where your muscle might jerk, but it's not painful or anything like that. So some people, like, they see me, they see my head jerk or something like that, and they think that I'm going through all sorts of suffering to allow this to happen. In no way, shape, or form is this experience depleting to me. As a matter of fact, it's always energizing and always uplifting, and always leaves me a lot more balanced a lot of times than when I go into the trance to begin with. So aside from that, I would simply suggest that you all have a lot of fun, and I'll thank you now for all pulling this together and being here. And I'll see you later. Thank you.
I say, how are you all this dream time of your time as you create time to exist?
Excellent.
In this way, allow us to begin this interaction this evening of your time with the furthering of the blending of our consciousnesses and all the respective levels that you have created your consciousness to exist upon. In this way, you can recognize that each and every step that you take toward the assimilation and compilation and aggregation and integration of your consciousness allows each and every one of you individually to be able to draw from a pool that you create collectively, a pool that you strengthen as you add. Each and every endeavor, each and every gathering that you participate in, that you add energy to, that you add acceleration to, that you add momentum to, and can allow yourself to draw, to drink energy from, momentum from, acceleration from, at no expense, at no cost to the combined energy that you all put into this overall pool. This overall gathering of your consciousness, this overall blending and pouring together of the minds, the mentality, the spirits, the souls, and the hearts that you are, allows each and every one of you to be supported by that totality, supported by the wholeness that you create together in your life. It is a tangible thing. You do weave a tapestry, each and every one of you being one of the threads, being one of the colors, one of the directions, one of the elements, if you will, of the overall picture that together you create. And as an entire picture, you then generate the story, the belief, the reality, the scenario that you wish to participate in. You can then draw from that overall picture new understanding, new support, as you already understand in your civilization. The, as you say, whole, the sum, the total, is more than just the combination of all the individual parts. For each and every one of you, though you are beautiful threads, beautiful strings, beautiful fragments of a totality, together you are not just a bunch of strings. You do form this pattern, this weave. You do give another level, another degree of consciousness to the totality of your intermixture, of your integration. You create a scenario, an image, a picture, an understanding on a different level by the coming together of your beings, of your individuality. And paradoxically, you will find that this gathering together, as we have shared with you many times, this gathering together does not deplete your individuality, does not create a loss of individuality, but paradoxically strengthens it For the total picture is only as cohesive, only as brilliant, only as definitive as the integrity of each and every fiber that goes into making up the entire image. You all follow along? Is this translating to you appropriately?
Yes.
In this way, therefore, we would take this opportunity to extend to you once again our appreciation for your individual and collective willingness to formulate this gathering, this evening of your time, and any such desire, any such willingness on your part to blend the civilization upon your planet together through the auspices of your own unique individual abilities, talents. You follow me? For in this way do you thus create a tonal vibration which now exists in your ethereal-magnetic sphere. Each and every single one of you makes a difference, and together you make a tremendous difference. And the difference that you make radiates of vibratory awareness into the very atmosphere of your planet, thus creating something from which the rest of your civilization, whether they are consciously aware of you or not, will feel and can draw from and can allow them to know within themselves that those sparks of desire, those sparks of imagination can be given voice, can be brought to fruition, because somewhere within them they feel, they know that someone is creating a world wherein their idea, their individuality will be supported, will be accepted, and will be blended into the total tapestry of your lives. Everything you do makes a difference. You are immersed in an energy sea, and every movement you make sends ripples that are felt by every other being immersed in that energy sea. You are in no way, shape, or form isolated from anyone, from anything, be it the idea you call mineral, plant, or animal. You are of the same, as you say, stuff. You are of the same energy. You are simply your own pattern. You are your own individual tapestries as well as a collective tapestry. And every time you, as a thread, moves in any particular direction, you affect all other threads. It is impossible not to. Even though an individual may refuse to acknowledge that they are connected, as some individuals in your civilization may, understand that even that refusal is a reaction to all the other threads. No one is isolated. Everyone is a part of the picture, whether they choose, in a sense, to be a negative space or a positive space within it. You define each other in that way. It is up to you to determine what type of thread, what type of space you desire to be, what type of tone you desire to radiate, to ripple out from the being, the energy essence that you are. Now, we have spoken many times of the idea that you call your locale Hawaii, being what you typically and colloquially refer to as the heart chakra, gate, doorway of your planet. And so it is in many ways. Although do recognize that at this time, many of the different gates and energy points upon your planet are what you may refer to as energy vortices are blending with each and every other energy vortex, and thus you will find that much accessibility at any point on your planet is available of any level, any type of energy, any level, any type of dimensionality. You yourselves are gateways. You yourselves are doors and energy vortices. And you yourselves are beginning to combine the different tonal frequencies, vibratory wavelengths that have been isolated for so very long upon your planet. You are gathering these ideas within yourself so that you can function in a very open manner, that you can be, as you say, the blank key, the skeleton key that can open any door. Many of you have physically traveled to many areas around your planet, soaking up, shall we say, many of these energies, identifying with many of these energies in different areas of your world. Now, this idea, this concept of identification can be a very important one. Identification. Identification is simply the function, simply the act of synchronizing, harmonizing your vibratory frequency with that of someone else, some other situation, some reality, some dimension of experience. It is walking in step. It is identifying with, and in a very simple sense, it is actually being in love with, is identifying with, is patterning yourself after, modeling. Some of you may say mocking up, some of you may say mimicking. In this way, understand, identification with each and every one of these energies around your world, exposure to these energies, acceptance of these energies has allowed you to discover different portions of your consciousness, the different portions that for many thousands of years you have kept separate in your mentality, and now you are integrating together to function as one consciousness, just like white light is composed of all the different colors in the spectrum. And just like your personality has functioned as the prism which has broken down the white light of your consciousness into the spectral pattern of your physical reality, now in a sense you are reversing the process. You have now begun to clarify, purify the prism. And in this way you are taking all of the spectral differences within physical reality, all the differentiations, all the separations, all the segregations, all the limitations, and you are now accepting them within the very heart of the crystal prism that you are, and you are recombining all of those distinct colors into the white light of your unbroken consciousness once again. You are raising your vibrations, and it is specifically with this, in many different ways, that the dolphin life forms are assisting you now in your dream states and your physical realities. They are very cohesive within their consciousness, even though they still represent themselves to many degrees through individuality. They understand intrinsically the idea of cohesion. And in this way they are assisting you, many of you in your dream realities when you are physically asleep, in allowing yourself also to become as crystal clear as the water in which many of them swim, in which all of them live. In this way, as you begin to function, see in yourselves an identification with, a reflection of those consciousnesses, your brothers, your sisters, upon your own planet Earth. As you begin to not only identify with them, but identify as them, as you fall in love with them, as you let them love you as they do, you will then, as we have said, be truly swimming in the same sea. You are in the same sea now, particularly when you are in your dream reality. Your physical reality, their physical reality is but a dream, a variation of a dream, a variation of your consciousness. They know this. You are learning this now. And you will see in each other reflections of each other in that shining sea, in the mirror of that shining sea. You share each other's hearts. You are one world. You are blending. You are forming. You are becoming in love. Identifying as telepathy. It has been a desire in your civilization of late. Oh, when we are of the future, we shall all be telepathic, you say. But understand, many of you upon your planet are still thinking of telepathy in terms only of mentality, and do not realize that telepathy is a matter of the heart. Telepathy is emotionally activated. Telepathy is being in love. Telepathy is that attribute, that quality, that essence, that identification that occurs, that spark, that spontaneous understanding that occurs when you understand that to love them is to know them. And this applies to anyone, anywhere, in all realities and all dimensions. To love them is to know them. Telepathy is emotionally activated. For what you are doing then is identifying as. And it is not that you are literally, directly reading each other's minds. No. It is that you recognize that something, someone, some being, some idea, some situation is of a particular vibration. You are attracted to it. You begin to identify as it, with it. You take on the characteristics. You imitate. You parallel. You shadow them. You see in them a reflection. You give that reflection back. In doing so, you start to function on the same frequency. For every being in creation is simply a different frequency of the primal energy out of which all is created. As you identify with something, you take on the same frequency. And so, your thoughts being created out of the primal energy become created out of the primal energy in a similar manner to those you identify with. So you, because you are now on a similar wavelength, create the same thoughts. You know what each other are thinking because you are creating the same frequency that creates the same thoughts that they are creating because they are on the same frequency. You are paralleling each other. You are both reflective expressions of the way that you manifest creation through you. You are doing it in similar ways. You see in each other the reflection of each other. That is how telepathy works. It is being in love, identifying as, seeing reflections of each other in each other, and processing thought in the same manner that they do. So in touch with them are you that you will literally find yourself having absolutely identical thoughts at exactly the same time. It will seem as if you have, quote-unquote, read each other's minds. Basically, what you are doing is you are sharing each other's hearts. That is telepathy. That is why the dolphins are so very good for you in learning telepathy. For they are so very loving and so very giving, unconditionally, that they can open you up if you are willing. They are willing to share their hearts with you. And as you are willing to share your hearts with them, you will share everything else, your minds, your experiences, your world with them. When you then function as a homogeneous civilization, that is when you will be able to identify with other homogeneous civilizations. And that is when you will be able to allow us and other civilizations to interact openly with you. But the choice is yours. Always yours. This is your time. This is your life of transformation. This is the life you have been waiting for thousands of years. This is the one. It is the end of the cycle of separation, the beginning of the cycle of integration, harmony, peace, love. Each and every one of you is a spark, a facet in the multidimensional crystal that your world is transforming into. Each and every one of you is a crystal unto yourself. Your own master crystal. Your own master vibration. Your willingness to put out in your reality what you know is true for you. What moves your heart, your willingness to put out in physical action what moves you, what drives you, what allows you to love unconditionally will make all the difference in the world literally. You are having an effect, perhaps some of you greater effect than you know, than you are willing to believe. But an effect you are having. You are accelerating your world tremendously and allowing other individuals, because of what you are creating, to be able to have something to tap into. Because you have been willing to give birth to this energy upon your planet that is then accessible to them, that they then can become aware of. For some, it may creep up on them. They may not be willing to see it face front right away. but that is all right. Whatever doors they have allowed to open, it will flow in. No individual has managed to close all the doors in their consciousness. If they had, they would not exist in your physical reality. So if there is an individual in your world that does exist that you can perceive, that individual has some doorways that will be willing to allow, at whatever rate they are comfortable with, the energy you are willing to share in. Not that you have to force anything upon them, of course. Just by being a radiant example of living what you love to do, do you best benefit them in their opportunity to see that reflection from you, and therefore recognize that if they can see it in you, they must know it exists within themselves, for you cannot perceive what you do not contain. You are all bright and shining mirrors, bright and shining stars. You are literally bright and shining stars. Allow yourselves to know you can burn as brightly as you wish, and you will never be depleted. You are infinite, eternal, endless, bottomless. There is no height, no depth that you could possibly ever reach wherein you would find a barrier, a stopping point. None. The infinite is limitless. You are infinite. When you know that, when you take that to heart, you will be as joyous as the dolphin. And you will have learned their greatest lesson. Before we begin sharing, allow us, if you will, to share with you a dream. Relax. Close your eyes if you wish. Allow yourself to become comfortable in whatever manner you allow yourself to become comfortable. Whatever is correct for you is correct. There will be no right way and no wrong way to experience this dream. But allow us to remind you of this. Allow yourself to take it for granted that however your imagination interprets what we will say, whether it is literal or not, will still be exactly the way you need to experience this idea. For you know what you are doing. Whether your conscious mind knows that or not, you know what you are doing. 3 deep breaths. For now, allow yourself to simply float in whatever type of an environment represents to you the most calming environment. Be it that you are on a cloud, be it that you are on the water, be it that you are in the forest, out in the desert, on a mountain, in a valley, on the moon, on the sun, whatever represents the most comforting scenario to you. Allow yourself to know that you will absorb whatever it is necessary to absorb from this dream, on whatever level is comfortable for you to absorb it. Do not make demands upon yourself. Do not watch yourself too closely. Oh, am I getting this? Oh, I missed what he said. Oh, I did not get exactly that picture. It does not matter. Relax. This is time for you to enjoy yourself as you are, and to discover within yourself different portions and different aspects of your consciousness that constitute the overall dream that you are. This will then lead you more and more into understanding the dream that you are together with anyone else. Us, the dolphins. Each and every one of you. as you find yourself harmoniously drifting in this place of peace, allow yourself now to envision, in whatever way your imagination will create this essence for you, far off in the distance, perhaps in the sky, a bright, transparent, shiny, crystalline blue bubble or sphere. See it far away like a little bubble, following the air currents, floating gently like a leaf, sometimes being buoyed up by the air, very playfully. See it as it falls gently, gently, gently toward you. Your mind just begins to grasp that this is coming in your direction. It holds your sight, your gaze fascinated. You watch the brilliant sunlight glinting and gleaming off of its crystalline surface as it gently, like a bubble, drifts down towards you, becoming larger and larger. You begin to feel a warmth within you, a recognition within you, as if it is a friend you have not seen for a long time. And yet, there is a calmness in your excitement, a knowingness that it was only yesterday that you knew this friend. And as you watch, and as you breathe deeply, peacefully, this bubble drifts down, down, towards you. And you now see that it is big enough to contain your body comfortably. It is just a little bit longer in diameter than you are tall. And as it sinks down and touches first right on your solar plexus, right under your rib cage, it bounces slightly up a little, then down, bounces a little less, and settles gently upon your solar plexus, your stomach area, gently. And it rests there for a moment, waiting your willingness to share, your willingness to melt, and to let it melt through you. When it knows that you are open and not before, it then gently, gently, gently sinks down around you, through you, over you, washing you, enlightening you, invigorating you, and yet at the same time, you feel peace as you have never felt before, assuredness as you have never felt before, calm as you have never felt before, knowingness as you have never felt before. And now you find that you are immersed in the interior of this bubble, and it begins gently to rise again into the air. Slowly, for at first you may feel that you may weigh too much for it, but you will understand now that you are actually immersed in this sphere of liquid crystal. This blue electromagnetic sphere has a vitality to it that you have hitherto unsuspected. You are now beginning to sense how strong and vital this energy is. As it begins to rise, you go with it, losing the weight of your body, knowing at once that you are always in contact with the earth, and at the same time, you are a piece of the heavens. The bubble and you float in between the earth and the sky, gently bobbing on a breeze. And it rotates slowly 360 degrees in all directions, allowing you to stand up, to be upside down. All sense of gravity is gone. Any position feels just as comfortable as any other position, and you are fixated and fascinated on the view through the transparent wall of the bubble. For the scenery, though it is still much the same scene as you began in, takes on subtle characteristics of change, as if now, by looking through the bubble, you can see through the scenery that you thought was so solid before. It is still there, it is still real, but behind it is yet another scene, and another, and another, and another, in all directions, and you are absolutely fascinated to understand that in each and every one of those scenes, in each and every direction you can look, there is another bubble. And in those bubbles, those myriad, infinite bubbles, is another you. You may look different. You may be of a different sex. You may be of a different race. You may be of a different species. You may have physical form in some and not in others at all. But you know, they are all aspects of you in all of the alternate dimensions of experience that there are in existence. And that this bubble of energy, this aura in which you are immersed, is your access gate. It is your doorway. It is connected to each and every one of those bubbles. Each and every other bubble is contained within the bubble in which you float. Your bubble is contained in every other bubble. And as soon as you recognize this, as soon as you think it, you look in each and every other bubble, and all the other beings in all the other bubbles look at you. And there is recognition in their eyes. They see you and they know you. You see them and you know them. And the spark in all of the millions of eyes is the same spark, the same light, the same light. You now know beyond the shadow of a doubt that even though you are your own unique universe, you are never alone. Never alone. You are a part of. You are the reflection of all of those other eyes. You know each other like you have never known anyone before. And you all nod in acquiescence, in acceptance, in reassurance. Yes, we are all co-creating our reality. We are all a part of the same soul. We are all the same experience from different points of view. We are all one. We are all in love. We are love. We are the expression of love. As you contemplate your ability to see through this gate to anywhere and any when, and as you know this, it dawns upon you. A light awakens within you. That each and every one of these existences, each and every alternate dimension, feeds each other dimension. That you are continuously supported by the infinite totality of all the other dimensional aspects of your being. You have never been alone. You have never had to struggle. You have always been supported by the strongest foundation you could ever imagine. And even though you are unique, and even though you, as an individual, are equal to the totality of all of the other dimensions that you now perceive, you also have always been able to function as an extension of that whole. Always have you been able to rely upon the power of the whole. And now that you are consciously aware of that, nothing is impossible in your reality. For you have the entire infinite creation to draw upon, and the entire infinite creation is reflected in you. Any aspect you care to be, any aspect you desire to be, any aspect you intend to be, you can be. And you can allow, through that gate, that aspect to manifest, to be realized in this, your unique doorway, your unique experiential physical reality, in your unique heaven on earth. As you now take more and more cognizance of the physical reality around you, that physical reality you call your home, your earth, your universe, your world, your experience, as the fragment of the total that you are. You now realize, as you step back into that reality, that things now glow more brightly, that they now can be seen to not be cut off from the infinite, but that the infinite underlies everything that you see in your physical world. It is just beneath the surface, by the barest, thinnest of skins. The totality of all creation lies just beneath the surface of the physical reality that you experience. And it smiles at you, and it laughs with you in joy and understanding. It recognizes you and recognizes that you now recognize it, smiling in every tree, in every blade of grass, in every rock, in every drop of water, in every cloud. And again, it dawns most brightly upon you that indeed everything is the same one thing. Everything is the same one thing, manifesting in all of the multidimensional simultaneous aspects that it possibly can, all at once, all now. And that all of this is within you, within you. And you awaken into the dream. You awaken into the understanding, in whatever way, shape, or form the personality aspect that you have chosen to be needs to understand it. You awaken to the understanding that consciousness does not exist within the body. The body exists within consciousness. All is consciousness. All is the reflection of the consciousness that you are. Allow yourselves now to drift back to the surface of your consciousness, feeling refreshed and knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that the persona that you are now is not the persona that you were before we began. It is not the persona that you were when you woke up this morning. It is not the persona that you were yesterday. With each and every moment of time that you create, you are a different persona. You are a different person, literally. Literally. Oh, surely, Bashar, you mean that figuratively. I mean it literally. You are not the same person every single second. You are a different person. The vibrational equation that you are, even if it changes by the most infinitesimal variable, makes you an entirely different equation. Vibrate according to the equation you desire to be. That will be the reality you experience. 3 deep and expansive breaths. Awaken into your new reality. Awaken into your new understanding and realize that you absorbed what you needed to absorb on whatever level you needed to absorb it. And that you know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, what you are doing. And that you are doing, beyond a shadow of a doubt, what is true for you. We thank you. Sharing.
Bashar,
Hey.
you've spoken in the past about the beings on this planet, the humans and the dolphins, the way they align.
S. Speak up so as to assist your recording device.
Okay. How do the animals that we so love and cherish and pet, what extension are they of us, or, if they're not a souled being, what are they?
They are a souled being,
Okay.
but they are of a type of pattern that does not necessarily have to have the portion of the pattern that you have that you call analytical awareness. They are souled beings, and they function like any soul beings, but also they are extensions of the overall collective consciousness that you all are together on your planet. They are variations in the theme. They are reflections. They are guides. They are the portions of your consciousness that are represented by the automatic creatorhood that you are. To always remind you and allow you to, quote-unquote, stay on track with regard to your own naturehood, to be able to have an aspect of your consciousness to relate to that connects you into the nature around you, for you have created it. They are the overall aspect. They are individualized fragments of the overall aspect of one portion of your collective consciousness as an oversoul, the planetary soul. You follow me?
Yes.
And they are also, because you experience them as individuals, individually souled as well.
Thank you.
Does this assist you?
Yes, it does.
Thank you very much. They also are very good at teaching unconditional love. Many times, animals will take upon themselves many of the ideas of diseases that you may have created for yourself in your life, so that you do not have to experience the debilitation of the disease and can see in them the reflection that you need to learn. When you learn that idea and accept that portion of yourself within yourself, the animal will no longer need to reflect that disease. You follow me?
Yes.
Thank you very much, sharing.
But that's not always consciously done for the animal.
On one level, S. Again, they do not need to think in that sense. It may not appear on the surface to be the idea of what you would call a conscious recognition, but they do not have need for the idea of self-introspection in that way. They know who they are. They know at any given moment that what they are is what they need to be, and they live it fully and reflect it fully for those that they are in communication with. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Sharing.
So if you get better, that means that, if they get better, that means that you learned?
Many times, yes. Do recognize that animals will also include themselves in family groupings, will be a part of a family. And animals, many times, will reflect certain things to certain members of a family and not necessarily the same things to other members. But basically speaking, you will find that the animals around you will reflect generally the mental state of the situation that they are participating in. And so if you see within them the idea of health, you understand that that state exists within you. You follow me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Sharing.
Bashar,
Hey.
I find myself wondering, in the light of what you just said, what the role is for us of our abilities to consciously choose and to consciously reflect, presumably differently from the way most other animals do. Could you share about that or comment on that?
But in that way, you, technically, and the dolphins, technically, are not, in your terms, animals. You are self-reflective. Animals, in a sense, are not in an analytical way. And that is the difference. You are self-reflective. They are simply straightforwardly reflective. They are the eyes of nature. They are the reflections directly of that portion of your collective consciousness that represents what you call nature. Whereas you are the portion of that creation that is the self-creator, the self-aware creator. And so are the dolphins. In a sense, if you wish me to put it in very simple and colloquial terms, animals are the combined creations, so to speak, not meaning to take anything away from them, but they are the combined creations of the co-creation that you are involved with the dolphins in. The dolphins have, in their animal reality, similar parallels to many of the ideas you have in your land reality. There are variations of animal life that you would call dolphin life, so to speak, that you do recognize are not exactly the same in capacity or ability to communicate exactly as some of the species of dolphin and whale are. These variations, though they do carry some spark of what you would recognize as a reflection of intelligence, are not so much exactly self-reflective in the same way that the major grouping of cetaceans are. In much the same sense that you, as what you would call a land human, have reflections that may have a degree of reflective intelligence, but are not exactly in what you would call the same category, and you call them apes. The dolphins have their own version of apes in some of the porpoise forms that do not have what you would call the cranial capacity for the type of interaction that some of the dolphins have with you. They have their own reflections of nature, their own naturehood in those forms that they surround themselves with, just as you have learned much about the idea of your interactions with the apes. For in a sense, they are some of the model material that you, as a consciousness, have created your physical land bodies from. And some of the other porpoises are the model material that some of the other cetaceans have created their water bodies from. You follow me?
So far, yes.
What's the dolphin version of an ape?
Some of the idea of what you may colloquially call the dolphins that do not have the same cranial capacity as those that are more equivalent to yours.
Bashar,
Hey.
in following along this idea, what I notice is that as I experience more and more of fourth density or third fourth density
As-
blend, I seem to lose the self-reflective capacities that you've been speaking of. That is to say, for instance, in the dream that you just shared with us, I don't know where I was for a lot of the time. My memory now for that experience is very fragmentary.
That is all right. It is not that you are losing the capacity for self-reflectivity. It is simply that you are learning different terms. You are not doing it analytically anymore. You are beginning to learn how to do it intuitively. As yourself, you are beginning to feel the you that you are, rather than so much think about the you that you are. It is still self-awareness, self-reflection in that sense, but it is becoming more, let us say, non-analytical. In this sense, you are beginning to parallel, to some degree, the animal consciousness of your world. But they will still be more extensions of you than you will be extensions of them. You follow me?
Not that last part.
They are extensions of you. You are not direct extensions of them, except that everyone is a reflection of everything else. But they are, in a sense, your creation. You are the creator. You are the co-creator. You, as you say in much of your literature, were made in the image of the creator. That means you are a creator. The animals, in a sense, are your creations. You follow me now? They are extensions, fragmentary extensions of the combined consciousness that you are, the God consciousness that you are as the planet Earth. Is this making sense to you at all?
Something's jamming up inside.
All right. Let's see if we can allow this idea to dissolve of its own accord. Can you imagine a time, let us say, when you did not physically exist upon Earth? Can you imagine yourself, let us say, from a non-physical point of view, above the Earth, as you say, in space, if you wish, looking down upon this beautiful jewel in space and saying, I think I will go there. You follow me so far?
So far.
Now imagine that you are simply one idea, one consciousness. You recognize that you yourself are one collective idea. You do not recognize anyone else around, but you are the only one standing there, looking at that planet, thinking of living there. You follow me?
Yes.
Then, because you understand the nature of the planet, you understand that it is a physical realm, and that the definition of physical reality means, to some degree, segregation, separation, fractionalization, fragmentation into compartments, then you understand that if you are going to live on that planet, you are going to fragment yourself into millions of reflective facets, and you will then populate that planet with millions of fragments of the total soul that you are. You follow me?
Yes.
Some of this consciousness will be reflected in the form of your original awareness of self as the being that created the experiential beings upon the planet. The being that decided, that made the decision to live there. As you make that decision, as you give of your energy, you understand there is still from you a life force, an existence that already existed, in a sense, before you were created. But you have your own version of that life force, and you bring that life force with you, let us say, in much the same way that a painter prepares a canvas. You send that life form, you bathe the planet with that life force, so that you can embed yourself as fragmentary pieces in that life force. You set up the medium in which you can interact as separated beings. That medium is a spontaneously generating medium, because it is also part of your consciousness. But it is not part of the direct decision-making, self-aware consciousness that you are. It is the support medium in which you exist. It is existence itself, the raw energy. Out of this, when you impinge your consciousness upon that medium and create the congealing, so to speak, of different fragments of yourself over the planet as different individuals, out of that process also comes the congealing of different reflective fragments. Not directly a part of the original consciousness, so to speak, linearly, but a decision that you made creates a spontaneous generation in the medium in which you exist to give rise to all the reflections in that medium, the reflections you need to see when you choose to live in a medium about what that medium is all about. The animals are there to reflect to you what the medium is that you are living in, what it is all about, what the mechanism of the medium is. Is any of this making sense?
Yes, it's very lovely.
Does that assist you enough with the definition?
Well, if you could say more, I would enjoy it.
All that truly needs to be said is that it is an extension of your own consciousness, and that anything you will discover in any communication you are willing to co-create with any animal will put you that much more squarely, as you say, in touch with the creator that you are, the godhood that you are, the goddesshood that you are. So speak with them, and you will hear them. They will speak back to you, let us say, in the original way you used to speak to yourself before you fragmented yourself into this physical reality. They, the animals, contain the echo of the way you used to speak to yourself as a creator. You follow?
Lovely.
They are lovely. You are lovely. Be in love with them. Thank you. Sharing.
Sure.
You, then you.
You were talking about identifying with what you want to become.
Yes. Identifying as. Yes.
I want to know now what my next contributions are supposed to be.
Supposed
Whether
to.
it be career, whatever that whole part is. I tend to be reflecting on too many areas to pinpoint the direction I'm supposed to be going now.
Do each and every one of these areas excite you equally? Or is there one that stands out more than any other?
Some.
All right. Then understand, first of all, this. What you call excitement is your physical translation of the vibratory energy that represents the path you chose to be in this life. That's why you can always trust that when you follow what excites you the most, you are in synchronous accord with what it is you are supposed to be doing, even though there is no supposed to.
And in so doing, you will then absolutely be capable of accomplishing that?
Absolutely. For you understand, the universe does not do extraneous and pointless things. And the universe, therefore, infinite creation, would not give you the ability to conceive of an idea that you would like to be without giving you the ability to be it. When you have the conception, when you feel the vibration of something you would like to become, along with the conception is the tool. The conception, the ability to conceive it, is the tool to be it. For simply all you need to do is recognize that when you imagine something you would like to become, when you are imagining what you would like to become somewhere out there, who knows when you are imagining it, you actually are it. Because you have to be of the vibration to have the ability to even imagine the scenario. So you see, in your civilization, you have simply been told, well, your imagination is not real. And so when you conceive of something in your imagination, you still have to do something to become this idea. But when you imagine it, you actually are it. And all you need to do is, from that point, act like it. Act like you are it. Do the things you would do if you were already what you want to become. Act act the way you know you would act. Think the way you know you would think if you already were that person. You see, it takes you no time to change. Because this is physiological reality, it may take a little bit of time for your physiological reality to change to reflect what you have already changed into. That is the only thing that takes time. You take no time to change. None. Zero. You are different from moment to moment to moment to moment. Your reality will reflect varying degrees of the changes you are creating yourself to be from moment to moment to moment to moment. When you have a specific idea that you wish the majority of your reality, your experiential reality, to reflect to you, all you need to do is allow yourself to realize, fully realize, that the image you now have of what you would like to become is, at that moment, what you are. Get into that vibration. Be that person. Act like that person. Have the attitudes of that person. Have the beliefs of that person. If I really were that person, how would I think? How would I act? What would my attitude be? How would I believe? What would I say? What wouldn't I say? You follow me?
Yeah.
Be that person. Then, in short order, you will see your physical reality start to transform itself, to mold itself into an accurate reflection of what you now believe to be true for you. For your physical reality is always an accurate reflection of what you believe is possible. And only to the level you believe it to be possible will you get a reflection of the reality you create. So, when you have a situation in your life that perhaps you do not prefer, it is not there to show you, well, this is it, you're stuck, this is the best you can do. No. It is not there to say, well, you failed, you're a miserable creator, what have you got to say for yourself? Don't you feel ashamed? Aren't you guilty for having created this reality? What's wrong with you? That is not why physical experience happens. Physical experience happens based upon what you believe is most likely to happen to show you what your beliefs are. Look, this is what you now believe to be the most likely reality you can manifest. Do you like it? Yes or no? No? Well, then now that you know that your physical reality is an absolute reflection of a belief within you, and now that your physical reality has shown you what that belief is, if you don't like it, change it. Change the definition. Physical experience is there always to reflect to you whether or not the beliefs you have within you are the beliefs you prefer or not. So when a situation occurs, use it as a reflection. Use it as a tool. All right. Now I realize that I have a belief within me that has allowed this manifestation to occur. And we do not mean that you have to have the specific belief that it had to happen exactly, specifically that way. The idea, perhaps, to use an analogy, let us say, of someone having something taken from them, that specific thing wasn't necessarily, it could be, but not necessarily structured into the belief along that specific line. In other words, I believe that this specific thing will be taken from me. No. But that specific thing may represent certain ideas in your life, and you may not feel yourself worthy of those things, and so you will create and attract into your life the opportunity for someone else also operating outside their integrity to come into their life, your life, blend together, and remove the object from your life physically that represents the thing you do not believe you deserve to have. So when you see that situation in your life, if you do, understand that it is still your opportunity to use that situation in a positive way. If you think, oh, well, look at this, my life's a mess, you are only reinforcing your belief that your life is a mess, and you will only attract more situations to prove to you your belief that your life is a mess. When you say, all right, I realize I have attracted this does not excuse the other individual. By all means, it is their duty to be strong enough to recognize that they do not have to fall into your calling them. They do not have to, in that way, victimize your victim. But in this way, if there are individuals in your society that still are willing to act that way, and you are still willing to play victim, I am speaking in general terms, then you will find many of those matches occurring over and over and over again. And those that feel that they do not deserve this and that they are not worthy of this will always find more than enough individuals who will say, you're right. So, if you are willing to recognize that if a situation like that occurs, it is your opportunity to say, wait a minute. I have had that belief within me, obviously, and now it has been brought to the surface. Thank you. Now I recognize I had that belief. Now I can understand that I can use it to serve me. Now I can see where my beliefs were headed, and if I do not prefer them to be that way, now I can change them in the direction I wish them to be in by redefining them. Ask yourself in your meditations, well, why would I need to have something like this occur? Is it because perhaps I do not feel that I deserve this? When you hit the right one, it will strike a chord within you. Whatever the right reason is for why you created any situation in your life, it will hit you. You will know it. You will know it. And if you're honest enough with yourself, you will admit that you know it. And then when you know it, you are free. Absolutely free. For then you can say, I do deserve. I choose to believe I do deserve this or what have you. It puts you in touch with yourself. But simply recognize that whatever excites you the most, whatever situations in your life that automatically come into your life, that carry with them the highest degree of knowingness or excitement, does not have to be in the form of jumping up and down. Just the knowingness, the sureness that this is for you. Do it. Act upon it. Act upon whatever facet you are capable of acting upon that represents the same level of excitement. And it will lead you into the ability to act upon all the other levels as well. And it will connect up the whole thing. Whether a situation on the surface seems to be connected to what it is you ultimately want to do or not is not the point. If it comes with excitement, the excitement is what lets you know it is connected. And it will lead you to where you want to go. So at any given moment, do the thing that excites you the most that you are capable of acting on at that given moment. And that is how you will know what you are supposed to do. Life is supposed to be effortless. And therefore, when you act upon what excites you the most, it will be because you know that when you do what you love to do, you do not feel like you are expending effort. And you do not experience the passage of time because you are not creating as much of it. You are living in the now. And when you live in the now, you become ageless. Literally. Is all of this of assistance to you?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for your willingness to allow us to reflect what we know you already knew. Yes.
Bashar,
Yes.
you said earlier that there was a difference in levels of intelligence among the dolphins based on brain size. Larger brains than other dolphins. And we human beings exist in a fairly complicated physical society using approximately...
That is not so. You may think you only use 20%. But understand, you use 100%, even if you are using 80% of it to make you think you are only using 20. But we understand what you mean. You have created the illusion that you are only using 20% simply through the belief systems that will not allow certain ideas to be valid in your society. But when you allow these ideas to become valid, you will recognize that you are using it all.
If we are using all of our brains but not realizing it,
Yes.
if the Tertius dolphin that has a larger brain than we do exists in a somewhat simpler physical structure than we do, presumably know that they are using all of their brains to exist. What's happening with this 80% that we don't know we're using? What's going on in there?
You are making many connections on many different levels, many of which in your terms would be non-physical. Or let us say, very much more rarefied. There is a great deal of activity going on with the telepathic communication that you are all having right now. And you are using portions of your brains to reflect and represent that. You are using portions of your brains to tap into sensings of certain energy levels that are going on right now that your conscious mind may not be aware of, but your unconscious mind is.
Are the dolphins more telepathic than we are because they're using less of their brain?
They are not more telepathic. They are simply more willing to know that they are telepathic. And so they are more functionally telepathic, more consciously telepathic, simply because they do not have within their system a belief that says that they are not. They are simply functioning naturally. You function that way as well, but you have created within you the ability to not realize that you are functioning that way. You have the ability to hide portions of yourself from yourself.
What I'm having trouble following is what is going on in that portion of a brain that, for instance, the Tertius has that a lesser form of dolphin doesn't have. Is it a telepathic ability? What is it what is the distinction in brain size? How does that relate to their ability to exist?
Much of it does have to do with creating the ability to recognize self-awareness in physical terms. The capacity is in many ways a direct reflection of the fact that you and what you call the dolphins are the ones that are creating this reality. Therefore, you contain the most circuits to represent the most connections. So your brain size is a direct reflection that you have the ability to be aware of your connection as all the other things in your physical reality. Whereas the other animal consciousness, being only in a sense, not to make them any less than anything else, for they are equal in their own way, but being only fragments of the total consciousness of your planet, do not need a physiological representation of the self-awareness of being connected into everything, for they are connected into everything in a homogeneous way that does not take as much processing. You follow me?
I think so.
You have given yourself, as physical entities, the ability to cross-check yourselves by creating the number of circuits physically necessary that represents the amount of connections you have created in physical reality. To some degree, some of the dolphin capacity seems a little bit larger, A, because of the expansiveness of the environment they are in. In that way, you will find that the brain has more accessibility to more in that particular type of oxygenated state. And because there is less gravity, it has the ability to expand into a larger format, but also understand it is also a direct reflection that water and the things in it cover more of the surface of your planet than the land does. So they are connected in a way to more than you are, so to speak. You follow me?
Yes.
They are the curators of the water. You are the curators of the land. So your respective file cabinets will indicate how much information you are keeping track of. You follow me?
Yes.
So theirs is a little bit different, a little more expanded in a different way. You both actually have the same capacity, so to speak, but your brains are simply a reflection of how you are using that capacity, in what areas, and how the methods are that you are storing the information to which you are connected. The physical reality that you are each running. Does this make some sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Yes.
How does one get more in touch with their channeling?
Again, by simply following what excites you. Doing anything you love to do, in a sense, is channeling, to use that term loosely. Are you willing to trust yourself 100% in the direction of something you truly want to do? Yes or no? Then you will discover in your life everything you need to discover, exactly when you need to discover it to allow you to fully be the being you chose to be in this life, which is the fundamental purpose of your lives. The fundamental purpose of your lives is to simply fully be the being you chose to be in this life. That is it. If you do it according to what you know is true for you, you are being true to yourself, you are being true to infinite creation in that way, and you are in synchronous accord with your higher self that chose this life. By fully expressing the you in this life, you are. Now, even though you are overall, so to speak, a reincarnational being, and you have as a soul, so to speak, many lives, the you are now only has one. So in your terms, it is true that you only have one life to live. You only have one life to live as this particular you. You follow me? Yeah. So in that way, acting upon the instincts that move you and not the judgments of others about what they think you should do is what will allow you to channel the fullness of the being you are. By being in synchronous accord with your higher self, channeling your higher self as the physical being, doing what you love to do, knowing that by trusting that and acting upon it, you will automatically, coincidentally, synchronistically be supported in life. Because again, you are not given the ability to be aware of something without also containing the ability to accomplish it. All you need to do to accomplish it is be you. And trust that by being you, you will attract into your life to your inner dialogue. Listen to your body consciousness. Listen to yourself. Pay attention to yourself. Be quiet and listen. Then do what you truly believe is the thing that moves you the most, and you will be channeling all the time. In a sense, you are channeling all the time now. But again, it is similar to the scenario where you simply do not know you are doing it. You see, almost every single thing that you desire on your planet in terms of opening yourself up in your spiritual quest and knowing you have this ability and that ability and creating this in your life and that in your life, almost every single idea that you say you desire in your life is simply a matter of becoming aware of the fact that you're already doing it, but in a form that doesn't represent the way you want to do it. You are learning nothing new. You do not have to learn how to channel. You are channeling now. You are dreaming right now, and you are wide awake. You are creating your reality now exactly the way you want it to be. If you don't like it, then be honest with yourself and discover why you would want your reality to be the way it is. When you are willing to discover that honesty within yourself, communicate with yourself, and examine what your beliefs are and why you believe that way, then you will understand that what you are going to learn how to do is not a matter of learning something you don't already do. It is a matter of doing something you already do in a way you prefer to do it as opposed to a way you don't. That is it. Learning is only the process of remembering more of who you already are. And the idea of going from so-called level to level, plane to plane, accelerating your vibrations upward, this idea of going from level to level, from dimension to dimension, density to density, is also only the process of recognizing that you actually are the dimension that you previously thought you existed in. Did you catch that? The process of elevating yourself from level to level, plane to plane, is the process of recognizing that you actually are the dimension that you previously thought you existed in. This idea of going from your old to new age awareness, from third to fourth density awareness, is the process of recognizing that whereas you formerly thought you existed in the physical universe, you are now knowing that you are the physical universe. And then the process of going on beyond that, whereas you may recognize that you exist in different dimensional planes as you become non-physical, as you elevate and evolve, you are recognizing that you actually are the dimensional planes that you previously thought you existed as a consciousness in. This is what expansion is all about. You expand into the total dimensions of experience that you used to think you existed as a fragment in. It is the gathering together of yourself, and that goes on forever. Is that not fun?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Has that been of assistance to you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Bashar?
Yay.
I would like to understand the cause.
For how long?
Well, it was months ago, and in the last maybe week it's come back. It's daily, it's always there.
Shooting pain. Have there been any particular urges for you to do something that perhaps you have not done? Either because you have had the pain or before you had the pain that you did not do? If you stop and think about it, is there any particular thing, if you are willing to let your imagination have some free rein for a moment, is there any particular thing you would like to do that the pain makes you feel like, urges you towards, that you simply do not think you can do because of the pain, or because you think perhaps it is not the right place or the right time, or that you would be judged for doing it?
I'll tell you what comes up, but I
All
don't
right.
know if it has anything to do with the pain.
All right. What came up?
It has something to do with my sexuality.
All right.
Just moving in places where I feel like I shouldn't.
Shouldn't.
Yeah.
Shouldn't. By whose standards?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else?
I guess my own self-imposed one.
All right. Now, will you begin to recognize, perhaps, that you are opening up certain ideas, certain energy points within you, and at the same time you may be utilizing this idea to attract to you someone who may be willing to help you, to assist you, and at the same time give yourself, let us say, an excuse to attract that individual that will not have to seem like the real reason you may want to attract them. Because you do want to attract the type of individual that would be able to assist you with the pain, but perhaps you are not willing to let yourself realize that you can attract them without having to have the pain to do so. You do not need sympathy.
That's why I'm not sure that feels. It's not.
All right.
Sure that's right.
All right.
I'm not sure the sexuality is what the pain
Raise. Oh, there are many different types of sexuality. Many different types. Just the willingness to truly, fully express the physical being that you are. The willingness to interact. The willingness to be in touch, listen carefully, with your body consciousness is a form of at least sensuality, if not direct sexuality.
I don't.
We're getting there. For a moment, relax into the idea of being in touch fully with your body consciousness. Now, before you do that, I will do something we rarely do. I'll give you, not because we are attempting to set up any negativity on your part, we do recognize that this is appropriate at this time for us to do because we know you can handle it, as you say. So we will give you, before we continue, a warning. Uh-oh. You see the power of words in your society. Warning! Uh-oh! Oh no! All right. The warning is this. When you allow yourself to listen to your body consciousness as to why it is out of balance, when you finally say, all right, body consciousness, tell me, you will have to deal with a very honest answer. Are you willing to deal with a very honest answer from your body consciousness?
Yes.
All right. 3 deep breaths. I am going to ask you some questions. If you take any longer than 1/3 of a second to answer, you are thinking and not simply acting on instinct. I would suggest that you do not think about these answers. Do you love your body? Time's up. All right. Do you love yourself? All right. What is the self? All right, close enough. Your energy. Your energy. 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 Cohesiveness. Energy. Motion. Emotion. Energy motion. Energy. Yourself. Energy. Emotion. Cohesiveness. Awareness. Do you feel that you like yourself more often than you like your body consciousness?
Yeah.
Why do you believe that yourself and your body consciousness are separate things? Just because I asked you the question separately? Do you believe they are separate?
No, I don't believe
Do you believe that they are the same?
they should be.
There are no shoulds. Would you like them to be the same?
Yes.
Why? Time's up.
Because I feel like I have a good sense of my energy and my resonation.
If they are the same thing, why do you not have a good sense about your body? Do you think you have a bad sense about your body?
No.
Do you have a good sense about your body? Whether it is functioning out of balance or not, do you have a good sense about your body?
Sometimes.
When you don't, what do you think you would find if you did? Now you're really thinking. When you believe you do not have a good sense about your body, what do you imagine you would discover if you did have a good sense about your body at the times you usually don't? What could be the worst thing you could possibly discover? Go ahead, use your imagination. What would be the worst thing, warning, that you could possibly discover? The worst. Get into it.
The worst thing I could
The worst. I expect you to come up with an answer that will send chills down my spine. What is the worst thing you could ever discover?
Oh, the worst thing I could ever discover about my body is if it had a disease. That would be really
A dis.
yeah, that would really throw me.
All right. But understand, it does. Oh no. It does. It has a dis-ease.
It's a little different type. Yeah, it does, and it bothers me that it
All right. Honesty. allow yourself to recognize that we know there are variations and types of expressions of dis-ease, what may appear to be magnitudes of difference between different dis-eases. But each and every dis-ease is still exactly proportional to the idea you are being at any given time, so all dis-eases are on the same level.
No, I'm upset with it that I have gotten it so tense that it...
You are upset with what?
I guess I said it.
Yes, you did.
I guess I'm upset with me.
Yes! Why?
That I've gotten it that tight.
All right. Let it out. Release. Very good. Do not stop it. Let it flow. You are upset with you because you are thinking of yourself as a failure. Laughter. You see how enjoyable the idea of even a negative attitude can be. All right. Well, if you're going to be upset with yourself, do it all the way. Let it flow. My goodness, what an idiot I am. For then you see, if you do it with gusto, you will be having such a good time, you won't be upset with yourself. And it is the laughter and the crying that will center you and allow all pain to dissolve. All pain, mental pain, spiritual pain, emotional pain, physical pain, all pain. Any exceptions, Bashar? No. All pain is the result of cutting a portion of yourself off from the rest of the totality of what you are. All pain is invalidation of a portion of the self. All pain is a result of even creating that to be a separate portion to begin with. That is why there is pain.
That's what upsets me, though. I don't know which part I'm cutting off.
One moment. This does not have to become an analytical exercise.
Okay.
You are only adding more segregation right now. The point is, you say you believe you are upset with yourself because you thought that there was a portion, no matter where it is, no matter what it is, that had the ability to fail, to let you down, to not function cohesively. That portion is not any particular where. It is still truly the whole idea you are being. You are only thinking of it in terms of portions. It is the whole idea that you are being that creates the pain. The whole idea. When you fractionalize the whole idea at any given time that you are into portions, of course it makes it difficult to find out where those portions are because you're not treating the whole idea. You are dealing with this little fragment. You go chasing this little fragment here and there and everywhere, running after it, trying to find it within. I know it's in there somewhere. I'll find it. It's got to be in here somewhere. I've looked. It's never where I think it is. It's always eluding me. It's always this little portion it can hide. It's always over here. It's always over there. I don't know where it is. Maybe I don't have it. I don't know. I'm a failure. That is what comes from dealing with a fragmentation by fragmenting yourself further. You are a whole idea at any given moment. A whole idea. Define the idea that you prefer to be. And allow yourself the opportunity to get used to that idea. And again, remember, no situation has built-in meaning. So when you know you have redefined the idea that you are, if for some reason all of a sudden there is pain, Don't go running back to the old belief. Oh no, I failed. I can't hold on to the new belief. Oh no, I'm no good at this. What's wrong with me? No. If you are a different person, and if you create pain, then you must know that the reason has to do with you as the new person, not as the old one. And it is something new for you to discover. And again, you don't have to create it in a painful way. Paradoxically, it is continuing to believe that you are the same old person that continually generates the repetition of the experience of pain. Even if you are a new person and you have pain, it is dealing with it as if you didn't change that continues to generate pain. As soon as you start dealing with it as the new person, you won't need it, because the definition of your new person doesn't need it. You see, many times, the way you have been brought up, when you change yourself into a new person, because you create and continue to create yourself as a portioned being, as a fragmented being, many times you continue to create the existence of a portion of your consciousness that says, oh, new person, huh? Well, let's test that. Oh, look how fast you dissolve. Didn't think you could be that new person for very long? Ha, ha, ha. You constantly want to test yourself. Why? There is no need. At any given moment you are what you want to be. What you believe you can be. Now, if you have pain, all right, you have pain. Acknowledge it. I have chosen to create pain. As soon as you get into the fact that you chose it, you control it. And as soon as you control it, you find other ways to learn the same idea that the pain has been chosen by you to show you. As soon as you learn there are other ways to accept this message coming from yourself, you can choose to have the message delivered in a less painful way. So first of all, acknowledge, truly acknowledge. If you're creating the pain, you chose to. Don't deny it and continue to run from it. That is what makes the pain worse. Because you are not acknowledging what you have created to be, a separate portion of yourself, and now that you have separated, you're still not letting it in. So let yourself get into the absolute creativity of the fact that you chose pain. My goodness, I chose pain. What am I showing myself? What am I showing myself in this way? I must want myself to know something very, very strongly to have chosen such a highly focused method of delivering this message to myself. What is it that's so important that I wanted to make sure I got, that I would make sure I chose to deliver this message to myself in a way I could not ignore? What could it possibly be? Because I am willing to be open and honest and listen to my internal dialogue and listen to my higher consciousness and listen to myself, I now realize why I chose it, and lo and behold, no pain. Because there are no blocks. Because there is ultimate willingness to learn what it is you wish to learn about yourself. Pain usually only results when you do not listen the first time when the message comes subtly. When you continue to ignore it simply because of your training, perhaps. It gets louder and louder and more obnoxious. And listen to me, will you? This is what you said you wanted to learn in this life. When are you going to pay attention? Do I have to twist your arm off? Oh, now you're paying attention. Generally speaking, that is the only reason you create pain, because you have not been taught to listen to the messages you deliver to yourself when they come subtly. So, if you are willing to acknowledge that you chose the pain to begin with, can you now imagine what it is you might be showing yourself?
Yeah.
Will you share?
Yeah. I think it's,
It doesn't have to be 100% letter perfect the first time you say it.
I think it has to do with getting divorced and letting feel, like you said, like an eye.
Yes, and that you don't have to be split down the middle. That you do not have to feel that a portion of yourself went away. That you are still complete. That you still have the ability to use both hands. You do not need the idea of anything holding you back from what you want. You do not have to restrict your reach in that way.
There are a lot of beliefs that say I shouldn't.
But if you no longer prefer them, relax. Allow yourself to release them. Your physical reality is very malleable. And in all reality, you are always doing exactly what you need to be doing, to learn what you need to learn, to be able to function as the being you chose to be in this physical body. Flawlessly. May I therefore add our congratulations on a brilliantly and perfectly created manifestation of pain. For a purpose. For your purpose. Now, you do not need the pain anymore. You do not need to teach yourself in that way. Let yourself be open to other ways. Let yourself be open to other ways. But if you find that there might be one or two ways you may have overlooked, and if you find there might be a little bit of pain here, a little bit of pain there in your life, so what? You know that you are moving out of that phase. You do not have to think that you are falling back into that idea, and thus by that thought generate that idea. And again, as you saw, if you are willing to get into it and explore the idea, you can make it fun. And when it is fun, it won't be painful. You won't feel it. All of a sudden it will dawn on you. Wait a minute. I've been laughing for the last few minutes, and all of a sudden, well, I feel pretty good. Laughing is centering. Crying is centering. They are both releasing, one from a negative, positive point of view, coming together. Choose which direction to get to the center. Does not matter. But understand this as well. All pain and all imbalance is you holding yourself out of balance. You do not have to do anything in particular to try to get back into balance. All you need to do is allow yourself to go back into balance. It is your natural state. And when you are in a balanced state, by that definition, the blueprint, the idealized blueprint that you are, does not contain the definition of dis-ease or pain. Allow yourself to get back to balance. So release, release, release. Only you are holding yourself out of balance. That gets tiring. Of course you get pain. You are holding yourself out of your natural state. That's extremely painful, extremely tiring. Let go. Align. Relax. Enjoy yourself. Give yourself a break. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Lighten up on yourself. All of you. And when you lighten up on yourself, you will be enlightened. How do you feel?
So much better.
Thank you. 3 deep breaths. This time in joy. This time in assurance. This time in knowingness. You deserve to be who you want to be. Infinite creation created you. If infinite creation thinks you deserve to exist, why not treat yourself with the same respect? Why not? Why not? Anytime you may find yourself doubting your own worth, simply say, why not? Thank you. Chatting.
Bashar,
Yes, then you.
do we have a responsibility to the dolphin?
You have responsibility to them, just like you have responsibility to anyone, not responsibility for them. Just as you cannot be responsible for anyone. They create their reality just as you create your reality, but you are responsible to each other to fully be who you each are, respectively. That is your responsibility to creation, to fully be who you are. To fully be responsible for you. That's your responsibility to them. Simple enough? Fair enough?
Yes.
Are you willing?
Do we have a responsibility to communicate what we learned during this week to other people?
It is not a mission, if that is what you mean. It is not that what you have to say is better than what anyone else knows. If you find that you are of the vibration that knows that this can assist, that this knowledge can be of assistance to other individuals, you will attract them automatically. You don't have to go scouring for them and looking under every rock and overturning every stone. Listen, listen, listen to what I have to say. Your responsibility to them is that in fully being who you are, you will simply radiate the knowingness of your experience, knowing that if other individuals are looking for something like that, they will find someone who is willing to tell them about it. If that is you, then they will find you, or you will find them. You will understand the connection through coincidence, through synchronicity. There are no accidents. So if you find yourself in a situation where someone is open to that information, by all means, share. Because that's what you have co-created the situation for. But you don't have to go forcing everyone, hey, listen. They will find you. You will find them. You will interact on the same level. You follow me?
Yes.
Now, if again you find an opportunity presented to you to dispense the information over a wide field, even to individuals who, quote unquote, may not have physically attracted themselves to hear it from you, if they hear the broadcast, they have attracted themselves. Otherwise, they won't hear it. You follow me?
Yes.
So, simply put it out there that that's the person you are. Radiate that vibration, that light, and you will attract all individuals who want to hear that. Do not worry, you will not be at a loss for individuals to talk to. For many individuals are willing to participate in that way. And many of the individuals that you will encounter have already had conversations in their dream states with the dolphins. And some of them will have already had conversations in their dream states with you. And that is why they will attract themselves to you. Because you are of like vibration already. So again, it's not so much that you're actually telling them something they don't know on some level. They are simply attracting themselves to you and you to them, because if you already have a physical awareness of how to, as you say, put it into words to get them to make sense out of it on physical reality, then they are simply attracting themselves to you to have a little bit of assistance. Well, how is that again? Well, I understand it in here, but how is that again? How do you put it? Oh, nicely said. Now I understand it all the way up and down the board. Thank you very much. You follow me?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Bashar.
Hey!
As I've been studying the night sky a lot lately, I've noticed how different quadrants of the sky seem to either stand out or twist in a different way from the rest of the sky. In particular, around the constellation Pleiades, there seems to be a square with a series of arrows and vectors, which seem to represent an idea of a map for a certain way of interfacing with the work with the ships.
All right, very good.
I'm wondering if you can comment on that particular map, how I might work more directly with
You are sensitized to what may be referred to in your language, although they're not exactly direct terminologies from one language to another, but what may be called the gravitic dynamic tensor field maps that connect your two-dimensional planes. You are seeing the eddies and currents of the gravitational vectors through which communication is taking place. Let us say you are sensing the path of least resistance in symbolic equational terms, through which telepathic communication is taking place between your respective civilizations. Are you getting this?
Kind of. Kind of.
You have an affinity for that civilization, and out of what may be called your higher awareness, or if you wish, your memory, you are seeing, you are creating for yourself a visual, inner visual symbolic interpretation of the linking energies, the equational energies that represent the vibration of your civilization, the vibration of their civilization, and the common factors that tie the two together. You are sensing the lineage that you each have. Do understand that quite literally the Pleiadians are your respective brothers, sisters, and cousins. Literally. The Pleiadians and you are offshoots of the same root race. We are not, but they are with you. And that is why the Pleiadians will be among the first to recontact your civilization, because it is the rejoining of families that have not seen each other for thousands of your years. And that is why these corridors are beginning to make themselves apparent in your consciousness. You are beginning to sense in physical terms what you know in non-physical terms. And you are bringing symbolic representations into your physical reality to let you know there's something more here. There is something reinforcing, something that makes this seem a little more solid than this over here. It is an overlay of your knowing self and your physical conscious self starting to harmonize with the connections you know you have. Do not be surprised to also learn that many of you have counterparts there, parts of the same soul. And what you may be perceiving are your earth-termed symbolic interpretations subconsciously of direct telepathic conversation going on between you here and you there. You follow me?
Yes, and I feel that there is a task, if you will, to either...
You are doing what you need to do. Simply continue to open your heart and act upon your instincts, and you will find that it will be no task that requires effort.
Well, there's a lot of joy in it, not necessarily effort.
Nice.
It only appears that, or it appears that the symbols are not transferable.
Not directly, but you still will understand their essence if you do not, quote-unquote, try too hard to think about them. You will feel the meaning. You will allow yourself, once again, to identify as that energy. And you will then learn that what you are doing is becoming that here. That is what creates the bridge to shorten. When you become that here, heaven on earth, then all within heaven, so to speak, can interact with you. You follow me?
Yes.
Does that assist you?
Yes, and I have another
All right.
question. Are you familiar with a being or an idea known as Lotar?
Define.
A representation of energy on another ship, which seems different in resonance from your ship, and has more direct contact with underwater cities and co-creative work with the dolphins. And in some way, me in particular.
What we perceive the vibrational name you have given us to represent is not a direct representation of that consciousness. It is an indirect representation through an ancient aspect of you. The term Lotar in that way is more of a vibration that represents an ancient you that was more closely associated to what you perceive that other vibration to be now. They are using it to rekindle or reawaken within you some of your own ancient memories. That is what the vibration Lotar means to us. The direct consciousness to us at this time seems to be, let us say, in an overall sense, connected to the vibration you might, for now, all of these labels are to some degree arbitrary, but might for now connect up to what you would call Arcturus. There seems to be some other aspects of this consciousness that may have serious leanings, and also what you have colloquially in your civilization referred to as aspects that exist within what is called Ashtar. But again, this is far more malleable than you think, far less distinctly personified as a particular being than you may think. But all of this together is vibrating within you to awaken the Lotar aspect of your own Earth past, let us say, Atlantean, Lemurian vibration.
Can you comment on the relationship between that idea of those energies and draw to go to New Zealand?
There is much strong dolphin consciousness in that area. That is where the consciousness we have referred to as dreamer originates from. In that New Zealand area, there is a very specific type of vortex energy that represents a type of ancient foundation and at the same time an ancient capstone to an old idea. It is the repository, if you will, to many of your psychic pasts, your energy pasts. Hawaii is to some degree connected to this idea. New Zealand will contain certain particular aspects that will add a certain completion to the story of your lineage with regard to Lemurian interactions. For it is in many ways, as you would say, primeval. The energy there, as does the energy here, contains many different spirit forms, spirit guides. The area you call Hawaii is alive with spirit guides. Different in many ways from the energy of the area in which the physical channel usually resides. They are much more distinct in this area. They are much more individualized in this area because the area more naturally accepts them and has not, in your terms, blocked them out with what you call technical civilization. In New Zealand, there are many connections. Now, many of you may be surprised, although it will be different in that area. You will find that there are many, many origination connections to the same type of energy that many of you recognize in your United States of America to be Kachina energy. In New Zealand are many of the origination points for when that particular type of consciousness first intersected your earth. It is very primal. You will get in touch with a strong primal foundation. It is a gate from an old world into a new one. Continued through Lemuria and held in its old style to some degree by what you call the Hopi Indians in your United States. They represent the last fragment of that old world. And the Kachina energy was very strongly connected to it. Is all we can say at this time.
Can you tell us more about Kachina energy?
Only that they represent a type of extraterrestrial consciousness that, let us say, resides in between the dimensional barriers that separate one universe from another. They are their own universal energy, and our civilization is only yet beginning to explore and come into contact with many different aspects of their energy. If you wish us to put it in extremely Earth terms, Kachinas are the extraterrestrials extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
They are 90 degrees out of phase with all we understand and share with you as our common universe. They are in a completely different quasi-planar reality. We are ourselves just beginning to explore this idea, but they are most enticing.
Bashar?
Hey!
Is our current rising interest in New Zealand a direct reflection?
As an offshoot to some degree, but it is more indicative of the blending of the dolphin consciousness at this time. It has that higher tonality. For again, many of the dreamers reside in that area, as many of them do also in your Hawaii and also off of your Japans. But they are, again, of a specific group and represent a certain stepping stone along your path of self-awareness and self-remembrance.
Bashar?
Hey!
This energy that calls itself Lotar has told me that it was present at my conception.
To some degree. We are talking about a very fundamental, primal aspect of consciousness when we are discussing that particular vibratory awareness. It is something that, let us say, may most accurately be represented as a fragment of the collective archetypal consciousness of your planet in terms of the version you experience. It has its own version of itself, which in a sense has nothing to do with what the version is you experience. It is a very self-reflective, embodying concept. Let us put it this way. Imagine that there is a being that does not have, in and of itself, any degree of materiality, but when it enters into a particular realm, will give itself a representational embodiment. That is what lets you think, oh, this is Lotar. But that is not Lotar. It is the reflection of Lotar. It is the reflection of a being, the very shadow, and only the shadow, the slimmest shadow of a level of consciousness that is quite a bit above, out of, or beyond, if you will, physical reality as you know it. But can represent itself by any of the aspects or fragments it has ever been. And thus it has blended itself, deeply ingrained itself into the archetypal substream of the consciousness of your own world as well.
I'm curious as to what...
Because in a sense, you are also an aspect of the same being. You use that particular energy as a symbol to drive yourself, to initiate to some degree. It is what you have always recognized as the vibration that represents your inner knowingness, your inner drive, your inner core.
Instinct?
You may call it that. But it is more primal knowingness. It can be called instinct, but it is also something else, and not exactly definable in your terms. It is not definable in our terms either.
Is this available for me to tap into?
Oh, absolutely. It is within every cell of your being, within every atom.
I've been doing some transformational artwork, and I feel...
How very exciting.
Absolutely. As is everything in life, if you are willing to allow it to be. Again, there are no boring situations, only bored minds. But it does not have to be that way. When you adopt the childlike fascination that is within you, everything will be exciting. And that is one other thing that you can learn from the dolphin. A childlike curiosity about everything. Absolutely everything. Play with them. Play with them. Play with them. As they play. There is a strong, what you may call magnetic beacon, both around, specifically, what you call Molokai, and also, as we have said, the crater you call Haleakala. These areas are prime attractants for dolphin consciousness and the shores around them. They are only slightly submerged, again representing the waiting on their part of when they sense within you that you have recognized and awakened to the fact that the rest of infinite creation lies just beneath the surface. They lie just beneath the surface. But only out of joy of the expectancy they know is about to explode upon you. They are just beneath the surface. Find, as you have been suggested to, find the dolphin that you are just beneath the surface of your humanity. Find the dolphin you are, and you will identify as the dolphins they are. In a sense, many of them have already found their humanness. You are now finding your dolphinness. Many the time in Atlantis did you share and exchange bodies in reincarnational senses. This is now something which can be possible again in your near future. But first, you must learn to remember your friends. They have been remembering you for a very long time and are most overjoyed that the sounds of their happiness are finally waking you up. They are singing to you, but not a lullaby that puts you to sleep. They are singing you a song of dawn, a song of awakening, a song of life, love, and happiness, a song of eternal joy and ecstasy. You share the same dream. You swim in the same sea. You are of one soul. Wake up and dream. Wake up and dream.
Feel yourself floating in the sea of energy. Feel yourself swimming with us. Feel your heart beating with our heart. Feel the same blood pumping in your veins. The same warmth, the same birth. We are born together and we live together. We share the same world together. Feel our joy. Feel our brotherhood, our sisterhood. Feel our love. Feel the nurturing earth within your soul. Feel your own playfulness. Break through the shell of your humanity. Be as you know yourselves to be. Reclaim your birthright. Swim in the energy sea. Swim with us in the same physical dream. All is a dream. All is a dream. Explore with us. Explore yourselves. Go into yourselves, and there you will find us. We swim in your soul, come swim in ours. We love you. We dream. You dream us together. We share the same dream.
We extend to each and every one of you our unconditional love and energy. Feel the vibration. Feel the vitality of the light that beats within you. Live life. Live as you. Live as one, individually and collectively. We thank you for your sharing. We thank you for sharing the dream that together we are forever. Pleasant dreams. Loving. Good day.